Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of Northern Lights. I'm your host, Tanner, joined today by Steve. Welcome, Steve.
Hey, Tanner. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to be back. Episode 2, Season 2, feeling good. Back here at the Dabbler Depot studio.
2 for 2.
2 for 2, absolutely. It's been a busy week. Last time we recorded here, it was just like the hours before the Legacy Cup. We're now on the other side. We've got a lot of news to cover from that. We're also talking a little bit about Olmsted County, Rochester. We're also talking about South Park Come to Life in Minnesota. We'll be getting to that more a little bit later. Oh, boy. And then we've got a great interview. Really excited to hear more from Leah and Casey talking about their business, Sprout Cannabis. It's pretty cool.
Yes, we had Leah and Casey Colros in the studio. Sprout Cannabis, Natural Harvest, MinnesotaCannabisSeeds.com. Check them out.
Yeah. And then we'll be trying some products a little bit later in the show. And then, of course, we'll have our high note at the end. And tell us what your high note is. What are you thinking about while you're smoking this week? Drop it in the comments. We love to hear from you. But first, Steve, I ran into you like 7 times at the Legacy Cup.
Yes.
We would be like, all right, let's hang out. And then we'd be like, oh, I just have to go do a dab real quick. Or, oh, I just want to grab this sample. And then I'd turn around and I'd be like, oh, I think I lost Steve. And that happened so many times. But man, it was great.
It was beginning to end. I spent 7 hours at the Legacy Cup. I really had a great time. I thought the weather was awesome. I thought the field was great. I thought the amenities were tremendous. 2 for 2. Doobie Dabbler, Legacy Cup, back-to-back great festival weekends.
Yeah, absolutely. I love seeing cannabis events really come in earnest to Minnesota, being able to come out, consume a lot of cannabis with people. It felt like a concert, basically, when we were at the Legacy Cup. Yeah. Especially in that latter part of the day as that music was going. Some of those booths were perhaps a little less well staffed than they were earlier in the day.
Oh, yeah. It was 420 somewhere.
Absolutely.
I spent some time in the Cultivated Sesh Lounge.
Oh, yeah.
I seshed in the Sesh Lounge. Thanks for setting that up.
Absolutely.
Great rosin, fun dabs, great beverages. Good people over at Cultivated. It was fun to hang there.
Yeah, it was fun to see their whole tent that they had there. When the rain started coming in middle of the day, a lot of people were hanging out in that tent. I brought my poncho, so I was walking around, still enjoying the day. I asked to do a dab at the dab table, and they said, not in the rain. It's the torch, apparently, doesn't work. But, it was a good time.
That was a fun time. Jordan, how was your weekend?
Pretty good. Very Formula One centric. And
is it true they were racing open wheel race cars on the streets of Minneapolis?
Not racing, but it was what Red Bull came to town, and they brought their show run kit, which is basically like very expensive marketing, very expensive urban marketing for Red Bull. But as we know, Red Bull has some of the deepest marketing pockets in the entire world.
And they're in the F1.
So Red Bull owns 2 of the 10 F1 teams.
Wow.
And one of them being Red Bull, and then the other one being a team called Visa Cash App Red Bulls.
Okay. Well, we're really excited to announce our new sponsor of the podcast, Red Bull. No.
Cheers.
No, honestly, like Cash App might come through for us.
There we go.
Hey, putting this out for Cash App. If you want to sponsor the podcast, reach out to Steve at mncannabiscollege.org.
Oh yeah, hit us up.
But yeah, me and my couple of siblings and friends went and stood on the streets of Minneapolis about 3 hours before the event started. I brought my big long camera, or one of these cameras actually.
Wow.
With a big long lens, and I took 1,400 pictures of cars going by me very fast.
Cool.
It's that F1 car, so that F1 car is for the car nerds out there, it's the 2011 championship winner driven by Sebastian Vettel.
Ooh.
Naturally aspirated V8. It's the single loudest thing I've ever heard in my life.
My dad was down there.
It's so loud.
Yeah.
I was looking through the pictures I took yesterday, and I've taken hundreds of thousands of pictures in my life, and I took some of my favorite pictures of all time last week.
Wow.
At this event. So for
your pictures 2 weekends ago were amazing that you can find on Facebook and Instagram.
Oh, thank you. From Doobie Dabbler. Yeah. I'm a formally trained videographer and cinematographer, but I'm finding still photography to be a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm enjoying it. So I'm practicing that usually. When I'm not doing it for my day job, I usually bring a camera home with me over the weekend.
Great shots.
Yeah. And I still can't believe that you convinced him to hand out skull gummies at the event. That was pretty neat.
I did not do that.
Oh, no. Oh, no, wait. No.
What are those?
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I was focused on race cars for most of the weekend, and family, any time I wasn't focused on race cars. So
awesome.
I love it. Well, the rest of the industry, I do have to say, was probably focused on that Legacy Cup at least a bit, looking at who were really the people that were taking home the cups themselves.
Yes.
I know for a lot of people, they come on out. It's an event to go try some samples, to mingle, to see a concert.
Yeah.
But for most people in the industry, they were sort of waiting for that last 15 minutes.
Right.
I went running to the front. I was so excited to watch the awards. It was right after the concert, so people were clearing out, and I was like, "No, guys, this is the good part. This is what we're here for." And they didn't seem to agree, but whatever.
Lupe Fiasco.
Yeah, exactly. Well, so I wanted us to dig through a little bit about some of the winners, some of the people that did take home those cups.
Yeah.
There were some brands that I'm sure many of our viewers have heard, perhaps us talked about on this show. Some that might be a little bit new. So I'm excited to dig through who actually took home a cup at this year's Legacy Cup.
Do you have any footage from the event itself?
We do, yeah. We're going to turn to Jordan and put him on the spot and say he's going to clip it in right here because I'm going to send it to you and you'll be able to clip it in right here. There we go. Wow, that was some cool footage. Yeah, it was cool to see people take home those cups. Cool to see that the Cannatrol wrapped in that Legacy branding.
Yeah. They love doing that. They want to have that integrated experience with the grower. Mm-hmm. If you're buying a Cannatrol unit, you're spending $1,600 at their base level.
Oh, yeah.
$100 off if you're a veteran. They have a nice veteran discount.
Oh, very cool.
Check it out if you're a veteran. And the sales rep, Ed, he's like, we love to be connected to that real grower. So they spend a good amount of money to customize that, and awesome for the growers that we're going to talk about for them to receive that.
Oh yeah, very much so. So let's sort of work our way through. We're going to start with those THC edibles, some of the products that people have seen on store shelves all across the state of Minnesota. That THC seltzer, we had Jixie's peach rhubarb seltzer that took home that award.
Sure.
Not one that I've tried before, but definitely a pretty unique flavor profile. So.
Yeah, I'd love to. Actually, I was just on their website. They have a store locator. Maybe we can pick that up.
There we go.
Thanks, Jixie's.
Yeah. Next, we had that THC tincture. That's the Hizza Shots Sour Tangy Tincture.
Wow. That sounds really good.
Yeah, and that's the thing is, when that one was read off, I was like, oh, sour tangy. All right, maybe I should give that a try. I'm generally not a tincture guy, but cool to see people providing that strain-forward type of profile to tincture products.
Yeah, I know live rosin tinctures are something that you can make.
Yeah.
And so I'm really looking forward to seeing that come online in the years to come.
Yeah, very much so. THC soda, our old friends cultivated their guava lemonade.
Okay.
Took home a cup.
They low-key kind of launched their beverage through our events last fall.
I remember that.
Yes.
Yeah.
This product in particular in the wilderness at the Speakeasy.
Yeah. I remember him telling the story at our first grow class hours before legalization went into effect.
We're talking about Anthony Newby.
Yep, Anthony Newby, describing the work that went into developing that product. It's not just we took some flavors off the shelf, put them in, but actually a lot of effort, energy, and care went into creating it. And it's crazy to believe that was less than a year ago.
Yes.
And now here it is winning the cup.
Absolutely. All of that. I remember him saying it took up to a year for him to produce this beverage. They went through lots of challenges. And at the time, you're thinking, wow, they're kind of late to the beverage game. It's the second half of 2023. But the industry moves so fast, and yet at the same time, there's so much opportunity that now they're an award-winning beverage, just less than 1 year into the live production of it.
And a beverage that you can get in a 12-pack. Pretty cool.
And at Cub Foods and Quick Trip. The distro is crazy.
Yeah. So shout out Anthony. We're gonna talk about you more a little bit later in the show. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see them take home for that.
Yeah,
that
big ups to Cultivated.
Next with that THC gummy, one that did you know that they make THC gummies here in Minnesota? No, I'm just kidding.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
Freedom's Blue Raz gummy wheels were the one that took those home.
Who is Freedom's?
So Freedom is the brand that Travis Cullen is sort of the face and person behind.
Okay.
A lot of what they do, the Freedom Soda you might have heard of, is dedicated towards raising awareness of people that are currently incarcerated for cannabis crimes.
Definitely. It's a passion that Travis brings to the industry to help inmates, people, victims of the war on drugs, to help them have a better life while they're in prison and when they get out of prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, shout out to Travis. I didn't know it's called Freedoms. I've always heard it Freedom Soda or Rochester, Laughing Waters, Rochester.
And so I think it's the Freedom Soda. I always took as like a singular word, and I think it's Freedom Gummies.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the THC chocolate, which we got to say, Retro Bakery has taken home 3 years in a row.
Yes.
This year, Mellow was the one to take home.
Yes.
Key lime pie chocolate cheesecake. I actually tried it for the first time at Dabbler Depot over at their 7th Avenue location.
That was a crazy night.
Yeah, that was. But yeah, no, shout out Mellow. Cool to see people coming in, sort of newer brands, taking home a cup. And shout out to Loon Lab. That's the brand that makes those chocolates.
Oh, they do?
Yeah, so cool to see the people working together in this industry taking home some trophies.
We're going to talk about Loon Lab when we turn the page, right?
We are.
but Mellow, like, you really liked that product when you tried it. And John Barty was blown away. I remember that night, him trying those products. And that was what makes the magic with Dabbler Depot is those sessions. And we got to meet a lot of brand new brands like Mellow through the Dabbler Depot.
Yeah. So we should say, if you want to do a pop-up of your brand at the Dabbler Depot, hit them up. Kale at Beer Dabbler, Kale at Doobie Dabbler.
Kale at dabblerdepot.com.
There we go.
That's right.
CAYLE at
Yeah.
dabblerdepot.com.
We'll put the text right along here.
They could come in like 4:00, right when we're done podcasting.
Yeah. Could be a fun time. But so shout out Mellow. Really cool to see them, especially sort of a newer face in this industry, really find such success with their first launch of products. They had chocolates, they had sodas, they had hard candies.
Yes, I remember those.
One of the third took home a legacy cup, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Let's move on to some of the most innovative products. So these are products that really stand out in their category for being unique, for being a new way of people to look at cannabis, just being standout.
I love this category.
Yeah, and I love that we're rewarding not just, hey, you make good products, because I think some of these are actually really good products, but you make really cool, unique, trend-setting products. And shout out to some of the brands that we're going to talk about. First up, a longtime friend of the show, Dr. Dabs. The Dr. Dab infused maple syrup took home the award this year for most innovative THC edible.
Not because of its packaging.
No, absolutely not. No, but it's cool to see. So Dr. Clement Dabney, 3 years in a row now taking home most innovative product. He had it for the maple sugar candies that first year.
Wow.
We had infused tea products that second year. And now this year, just straight maple syrup. You can use it in so many ways. In fact, if I were to make some pancakes, I feel like I could just put it right on top. People should check out that Cooking with Clement.
Yes. Buy Dr. Dab's infused maple syrup just for pancakes.
Yeah.
Your pancakes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, that's the only thing. Let's talk about some of the other most innovative products, though. Shout out to Clarity for winning that most innovative THC beverage with their Mocha Latte cold brew product.
I'm not surprised a cold brew product won in the beverage category.
Yeah, we've long tried on Northern Lights coffee cannabis products because I am excited for this nexus of good coffee and good cannabis. And I think a lot of brands just don't meet the mark with that. They maybe bring good cannabis, maybe they bring good coffee, but not finding that connection. Cool to see Clarity knock it out with not just coffee, not just cannabis, but good coffee and cannabis.
Also, they killed the branding on that product. And so I know that there was a visual aspect to this competition from the judges' standpoint. I'd love to judge this category next year because I love THC beverages. I love the opportunity around it. But I also have to say, not only does the product taste good, it looks good.
Okay.
And it makes sense that it's an award-winning.
We'll have to maybe bring it on the show sometime. I got to be honest that I saw the booth that was doing samplings of it. I didn't get a chance to try it. So stoked to give it a go at some point here.
Definitely. How about this one, though? Most innovative non-intoxicating product. Yeah. Is that essentially like a CBD product?
Yep. So it's a CBD, I believe CBG gummy was the one that ended up winning. They're Bountiful Blue Raspberry Gummies.
Okay.
People probably recall Nebula, the brand, because we talked about them when you could buy concentrates and vape carts from Island Peze.
Yeah.
That, man, looked very similar in packaging to this Nebula that's now making legally compliant THC and CBD gummies. So always cool to see who's making products out there.
Yeah, I'd love to dig into that with you sometime.
Oh, yeah. Well, let's keep moving on because we've got a ton of awards this year. Super cool to see them give out so much. And we're coming back to our friends over at Cultivated that won that the best non-intoxicating edible for their full spectrum pâté de fruit gummies.
Yes, that is. And it comes in a nice package, plastic packaging, and then it's a nice, juicy, smooth tasting gummy, like a little silky if you were to cut it halfway.
Yep. Yeah, it's a good one. And one that non-intoxicating, but still definitely worth checking out.
Yes, CBD.
Yeah. Non-intoxicating tincture, absolutely infused, is by Loon Labs. That's 1,000 milligram full spectrum tincture.
Solid product. I've known about it for years. Great to see like a standard has been established, and craft tinctures have sort of gone away.
Very much so.
And, you know, it's still, I'm glad to see Gabe behind Loon Lab is producing this, winning awards. Not his first award.
No. And it's cool because that's a product that like hasn't necessarily shifted a ton. I don't think it's going to win for like most innovative product, but it's that tried and true staple that people just keep coming back to because it's consistent. They know what they're going to get. And every time it's a full spectrum tincture.
The Loon.
Yep, exactly. And then finally, that non-intoxicating product that won the best topical was True Bloom Wellness, their relief lotion.
Yeah, I've gotten to know Pam Andressen, their CEO. Really passionate woman in the cannabis space. Spends time in California, spends time in Minnesota. Their company is based here in Eden Prairie, and they make a great product. I have this on my desk right now. I've been using it, and I love CBD lotions. I love like a nice, easy applicator, and then it's just a little bit on the wrists, a little bit on the hands. It doesn't change your life, but it changes your day.
Absolutely. I love that. I think that's pretty cool. And it's cool to see people still making knockout topicals that people can use to benefit their life in various ways.
Yeah, these last two, the tincture and the relief lotion, very niche nowadays from a Minnesota cannabis perspective.
Yeah. It's not a beverage, that's for sure.
Nope.
All right, so it's the 5th year of these awards being given out. 5th year of people winning, most innovative edible product, but it's only the 2nd year that we've had home grow flower, and this year home grow hash and rosin included in the Legacy Cup.
That was a big part of Josh's vision to go bigger, more authentic, right? So you're talking about best homegrown outdoor, best homegrown indoor, and then a people's choice. Okay.
Yeah. So let's talk about the best indoor, and then we'll move on to the fun category of outdoor. So indoor, it was really cool to see Fisherman 420 take home for Blue Dew, which is a Grand Flora genetics product. So just some really knockout indoor flower.
I love the handle.
Yeah. We'll tag these people on Instagram, so definitely go give them a follow. You can see some of the stuff they're doing. Then maybe their account gets taken down, and you got to give them a follow again. But which leads us very nicely to the next one.
Okay.
So, best homegrown sun-grown flower. Now, Josh put a pretty big asterisk on this one, which is you just need to have some sun involved. Like, this festival is not at harvest time. We don't have product that was grown outdoors ready for people to be smoking right now.
True.
So this was a product that was grown partially outdoors, partially with light deprivation, partially in a greenhouse, various things to help take that outdoor element and really craft it to how we need.
Okay.
And it was a knockout from Infamous Roots, who actually took home the cup last year for best homegrown flower for their birthday girl. This year took it home for a birthday girl cross called the Chon Chon.
AKA birthday tits.
Yeah. You could hear when he said the name on the stage, Josh just went like, it's cool to see someone who is growing here in Minnesota really continuing to knock it out. And he, when he posted on Instagram, had a pretty tongue-in-cheek comment that I really liked, which is, this is one of 2 strains left after the task force raid, and cup winning. So clearly pretty good stuff.
2 for 2.
Yeah, 2 for 2. We've only had this category 2 years in a row, and that person, Infamous Roots, has now taken it 2 years in a row. So if you're looking to start up a micro, a cultivation license, you're looking to hire on a master grower, maybe reach out to Infamous Roots. Who knows?
And I believe they're woman-owned. Is this behind?
That's a great question. I believe so as well.
Yeah.
It was sort of tough to tell as people were coming up on stage exactly who the growers were.
Right.
Especially because some of them, Josh made a joke when the first person came up. He's like, yeah, coming up on stage if you want to. And it's like, well, yeah, I suppose they want to, but maybe some don't, including the person that we're going to talk about in our next award.
Oh, very cool.
People's Choice Homegrown Flower was won by Ben Anonymous.
Not Sean Anonymous, but
No. This case, it's Ben Anonymous. We don't necessarily know who that is, but they grew Master Kush crossed with Sour Diesel that took home the cup this year.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, pretty cool. And then rounding it out this year, we had rosin, and then we also had solventless hash that was not rosin. So just to help separate that, rosin is a concentrate made only by using water to help wash all the cannabinoids off of the plant, and then using like a heated press to squeeze them through a bag. That's creating a rosin material. The solventless hash just had to be some other form of concentrate that wasn't rosin.
Okay.
So it was probably some sort of bubble hash, a finger hash, we don't know exactly. But that solventless rosin, Sweating Terps MN took home for their swamp water fumes. Pretty cool to see that.
That's dope.
And then Happy's Head Stash took home for their Rainbow Guava No. 5 hash. Pretty cool.
Yeah. The dabs and hash were going around all day.
Yeah. It was pretty cool to meet some people from across the country that had come to sort of see what was the concentrate scene like in Minnesota. And wow, there's some cool concentrates finding their way somehow into Minnesota.
Yeah. I mean, this is the all-star weekend for the Minnesota and Midwest hash scene.
For sure. I was talking to a producer out of California who was telling me a little bit more about, like, you know, I have Minnesota roots. I actually grew up in Minnesota. I'm considering, you know, maybe coming back. What does that look like?
Oh, wow.
And being able to explain, like, here's what a micro business license looks like. You could have your farm, you could grow, you could have people come over, you could process on site, they could consume on site. It's like, wow, that doesn't exist in California. That's sort of cool.
Wow. Yeah.
Shout out to the Minnesota model.
Fingers crossed.
And then finally, one last award that's given out every year for the activist of the year, the person who made the largest impact, helping to reform cannabis, helping to advance cannabis, helping to talk about people currently incarcerated for cannabis. And it went to our buddy Travis Cullen. So Freedom, when we talked about that earlier, same person behind that brand is the same person out there who's really helping to preach the idea that sure, it's legal, sure, we're consuming, but people are still incarcerated for this from things that happened 20 years ago.
Yeah, Travis has a great viewpoint on the realities of the marijuana and cannabis industry, and he's not afraid to share them, and he's gotten his message out there, and he's been a part of our events, and we appreciate the work he's doing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so let's change gears a little bit. The cup was definitely a fun time. I really enjoyed being able to go and like do dabs in public, take a lot of edibles, but
walk around. It was fun.
Exactly. But we're going to talk very quickly about one county level change. We've been trying to really keep our finger on the pulse of different legislative changes, different municipal, different county level things that are happening. And Olmsted County, which is where Rochester is making some steps forward that we just wanted people to be aware of in case they want to be involved.
Okay.
How does regulation look on the local level? Well, in Olmsted County, it will look like restricting cultivations to just agricultural areas, which it's an agricultural community. That sort of makes sense.
Okay.
But it also really restricts where you're able to set up dispensaries, and that they would not be able to operate under a permanent license, but something under statute, which is called an interim use permit. Basically, you'd be able to have your business there, but within a year, the city would be back to sort of review what you're doing, being able to see, is this something we want to give you another interim use permit for, or sort of how does that work? And it's been disappointing to see cities that really could be moving forward with supporting cannabis businesses, putting restrictions in place that really cap them and limit their ability to know that they're going to be able to operate there next year.
Yeah, I don't like this at all.
Yeah. They're also putting limits on where cannabis businesses could operate. They're using the maximum allowed under statute. So 1,000 feet from any educational institution, 500 feet from any daycare facility, 500 feet from any residential treatment facility, and it cannot be owned, or it cannot be on any county-owned property.
Okay.
So, you know, I get that in the rural parts of Olmsted County, being 1,000 feet away from a school, probably not going to be the biggest concern ever. But there are some pretty populous cities in that county that if they don't choose to enact their own regulations,
yes,
these rules would impact how they can operate within their own cities.
Right. And somebody was going to take this stance.
Yeah.
it's not surprising that it's Olmsted County or the Rochester area.
Absolutely. So the reason that we bring this up is that if people want to be involved, you actually still can be. These are all still draft rules. Now, our episodes come out on Tuesday, so us saying that Tuesday evening at 6 p.m. is a little challenging to let you know, but they are continuing to take input after that. So there is a meeting 6 p.m. tonight when this episode is coming out. You can go to the county government center, be able to make your voice heard. You can give your opinion. You can tell them, hey, it really is challenging to have such tight restrictions on cannabis businesses.
Absolutely.
Or you can continue to reach out to those who operate within your county commissioners, city council members, people like that.
Go there tonight. If you're in the area, go there tonight. Tag us on Facebook or Instagram. Show us that you're there, and we'll continue to support and provide education around these challenging opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll link that in the show notes, so if people are interested in getting involved, they can click on that and check it out. All right. Should we take a very short break?
Yeah, I need a break.
Yeah. All right. When we come on back, I've heard that there's some edible products in the shop that we might be able to give a sample.
Mini donuts.
We'll be right back.